We are rolling.
Good morning. Welcome back to the conversation. This is Midlife Crisis Activities. This is our lifestyles and pop culture webcast, our daily shout out to the world. I'm your host, Patrick Russell. And over there is my very vivacious producer, Veronica. Together, we're here to lend our voices to the noise from a multi-generational perspective to help explain everything's right and wrong in this world. Happy Freaky Friday to you, Veronica. It was my turn to choose the topic, and I came across two stories that caught my eye, both regarding their respective goats in their industry. One was in the financial sector, Warren Buffett, as we all know, the legendary investor, billionaire. And then, of course, Tom Brady, right? The legendary quarterback from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sure, Hall of Famer, right? And obviously one of the best of all times.
Yep.
Both of them have been doing it longer than anybody. Mm-hmm. And the secret to their success in each of these stories, they both had different approaches, but they essentially said the same thing. The power of saying no. The power of saying no, not only to others and outside forces, but the majority of the no having to be said internally to yourself to prevent yourself from extending yourself or putting yourself in situations that are contrary to your character or, your ethical code. Things of this nature can always slow you down. And so it's the power of no and sticking to the good habits, the good daily habits that both titans of their industry have suggested is the secret sauce to their success. From a younger generation's perspective, how do these two stories resonate with you, and what do you think is the biggest challenge for young people in making good habits today?
Gosh, so a little bit of my story, it's that before I marry you, obviously I was younger. So,
the dark years?
Yeah, so I think it's hard to have to build habit, just because you're trying to be young, but you're also trying to be professional, and that happened to me many times. It's like, should I go out? Should I not go to sleep, my 6, 7, 8 hours, or should I just have fun? So that's, I think, the big pushback when you're younger, right? Now, between those two stories, you just said it, be constantly saying no to things that that they're not right, and I think that's a problem that we all face.
What's the one thing in your life, internally or externally, that is the hardest to say no to, that sometimes derails your goals or your good habits?
Probably I have two. Watching shows.
Ooh,
that's the
Netflixing
first one.
and chilling, number one.
And then the second one, it's I'm committed to answering and being there for either family or clients.
Right,
all the
overextending
time.
yourself,
So
making other people's problems your problems.
So I think that's one of
that's a big one of mine.
I mean, that's one of my problems, I guess, if you want to see it that way. But I've been better. I've been a lot better than when I was single, I guess. Yeah.
In doing these shows and the fact that we've been able to establish a good schedule, a good habit, if you will, and it's a muscle like anything else. And the more you work it out, the stronger your muscle is going to be. So when I came down to the question of what are the two things that I have to say no to constantly that totally derail my day and my plans, I went existential with one, and then I went practical with another. Both of them very devastating to my long-term goals, and that's fear. Fear, but it really born from fatigue.
Yeah.
Being fatigued really cuts down on your creative thinking, cuts down on your patience, which then...
Oh, that's a big one.
Which then lets your guard down for the fear, the anxiety, to then sprout out in your thinking. And as we've all recently seen from the sci-fi epic Dune, fear is the mind killer. And it's funny, but it's actually true. Now, and so that one, big fatigue, saying to myself that I'm not tired enough to do a good job. I'm not tired enough to care. I'm not tired enough to listen. I'm not tired enough to say it one more time. That is a big thing for me, and sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. And the other one is sugar. I went with a practical item in my life that if I don't say no to, it completely devastates my day, my long-term goals and plans. Oh, yeah, the sugar crash in my season of life, in my chapter of life as a 45-year-old man. It is a matter of a roller coaster if I decide to have any sugar, right? With the highs and the lows, the crash is very real. So those are the two things that if I could say no to consistently, I've had very good success. Not perfect, no one's perfect.
Yeah.
But I've had very consistent, good success with sticking to my goals, my habits, and my strategy in life when I can say no to those two things. And then final note. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the things that they didn't teach me growing up, or, I'm going to talk about myself, it's saying no to a lot of things when it comes to not only my desires, but other people's desires. We are so used to, or I'm so used to pleasing people.
People pleaser.
That,
overextending yourself.
Yeah, that I think it, in a way, kind of affects my ability to move forward, right? So
absolutely.
I've been a lot better ever since I marry you, just because I have my because of you, but also because I have a life that I have to obviously.
Absolutely. You are crafting a multi-dimensional life, and you have been for several years.
So I think we have to learn that we cannot always fix things or fix people's problems, and we have to start by our problems first. And I've been a lot better when it comes to that, but also knowing that saying no, it's not a problem. You're not being a mean person. You're not being a unconsiderate. You're just being yourself, and
you're loving yourself.
Yeah, you're loving yourself. And what is it that they said? First do you, and then you can do other people, right? So that's kind of what they said. But you get the idea of
absolutely.
Do you first, make sure that you're okay, make sure that you have a plan, make sure that you do all these things, and then you can obviously help everyone else around you.
The power of saying no, the power of sticking to good habits day in and day out, like Tom Brady and Warren Buffett. It is a difference between success and failure.
One of the things that I did, and you've been watching me, obviously, it's exercising. That's my habit. I've been pretty good at it for the last 6-7 months, and that's how you build habit little by little on those things. So exercising first, waking up early to do work, eating right, and you're not gonna fix everything at once. And once you fix one thing, move to the next one, and it's gonna take time. And most of humans wants to see results right away. I want to lose weight. Oh, it's been a month and I haven't lost any weight.
Delayed gratification. Yeah, that is absolutely a point that both of these titans mention in their own way. Delayed gratification, which of course we live in an Instagram world. So it's that instant gratification that's
happiness
that you have to say no to. Let me add that to my dirty 3, right? If you can say no to the instant gratification and subscribe to the delayed gratification, well, now you're on the same successful track as Warren Buffett and Tom Brady. Good company to keep. One quick question. In your experience, how long does it take for a good habit to take? How long before you can get that workout regimen to finally feel natural, where if you don't do it and miss it, it feels wrong? 4
to 6 weeks. I think for myself, I guess everyone kind of manage and feels differently, but even books, if you go online and kind of read through things, between 4 to 6 weeks, that's when you start feeling that you miss something. Like for me now, I didn't exercise this morning because I had other things to do, and I feel it, like mentally it's like you didn't exercise because it makes me feel good. So I guess between 4 to 6 weeks, that's when I know that regardless of what happened, you're going to wake up and you're going to do exercise just to talk about exercise, but it can be anything else, right? So about that time.
I got you. Well, in my experience, it's always been about the 2-week deal. If I could do, like, getting to the gym being the obvious one, if I can get to the gym by that second, third week, I'm feeling like the momentum is now carrying me out of the bed. I'm thinking about positively of what I'm going to be getting out of the workout. And it's not such the drudgery of pulling myself out, which is my final point. By the delayed gratification, there is this compounding interest of confidence, of knowing that you did it, that you stuck to your plan, and that you're getting stronger. Social proof always comes along the way, right? Little incremental victories are what you feel to let you know you're on the right path. And that confidence that builds through that delayed interest of the compounding interest of saying no and being successful day in and day out leads to happiness.
Last point, I'm sorry. One of the things that help me or keeps helping me, it's having a calendar. Patrick and I implement a calendar for everything. Even if we were going to go to the store, going to the DMV, whatever that is, have a calendar next to you, with you, on you, whatever that is, and make sure that you write everything, because it has helped me a lot. Obviously, I'm still improving in every way in my life, personally, business-wise, but having a calendar helps to check them, do the check mark and said, okay, I accomplished this, and then let's move to the next one. And then if you don't finish, and then you can always move it for the next day. So
wonderful tip. And looking at her calendar for the business, it looks like a Christmas tree because it's color-coded and it's filled up all the way throughout the day. Final note for me, guys, stay away from sugar. The sooner you can give up sugar, the sooner you realize that the ups and downs of the crash and the highs have been really holding you back. Guys, there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer, but there is your opinion. Please don't just subscribe to this channel, even though we will be doing this back and forth as a power couple on a daily basis, but lend your voice to the show. It'll make it a whole lot more fun. Guys, doesn't matter what comes your way today. Doesn't matter what obstacles or challenges you may face. Just remember one thing. Give 'em hell. TGIF, everybody.